You have arrived to the Plunge into Prosperity podcast, where sacred wisdom meets regenerative wealth. I'm your host, Brandi of Sacral Capital. Now let's plunge in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 6 of Plunge into Prosperity. I have here with me Linda Keefe. Linda, tell the listeners or the new listeners why they should continue listening to Plunge into Prosperity today.
Well, I think that plunging into prosperity comes in stages, multiple times, not just once. And I think that if some prosperity can be defined by adventures as well as health and financial prosperity. And I also think that prosperity can be your mindset and so forth. So I think if you want something a little out of the mainstream, you might want to stay listening.
Love that. Beautiful. Thank you for that. And, you have a unique career with different businesses and now having your own, and then learning throughout all those types of careers and titles and businesses. And you realized that there was some type of framework and mindset that needed to take place in order to run a successful team and business. Can you tell us more about that?
Tell us more about that. In what respect? You're right. I have
a keyword, egalitarian.
Right. Okay.
You've had a very luscious career, so I'm sure that there's a lot of things I could have tipped on that side.
So, yes. I came into this world, excuse me, wanting to be helpful and caring about other people. And so I grew up thinking that and realizing it with my various different positions in corporate and then eventually 30 years ago when we started our own business, that everybody has something to contribute. From the janitor to customer service person, to the salesperson, to the person way out in a different location. Everybody, as part of the company, has a view of what's going on that nobody else has. And so if you can develop a mutual respect so that you listen and you don't just listen nodding your head and being patronizing, but you actually hear. And if you have a process that goes with it, then it becomes an egalitarian environment where everybody contributes. And that's what, no matter what size business, that's what allows your good people to stay.
Yes.
And your ordinary people to shine and your troubled people to become better. I mean, there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. When you create an egalitarian leadership environment, everybody rises just like cream to the top.
Yeah, I have always lived that because I was a professional dancer growing up, so ballet, tap, jazz. So you have to both be a star and a leader together at the same time and allow the next girl or guy to step up and take that lead role, but us support each other through that lead role, right? And there's no ifs, ands, or buts in showing up late either, because if you show up late or you aren't put together or ready for the class, then you're disrespectful to everybody else there. So it's everybody showing up together because you not only respect yourself, but you respect everyone else that's working with you on the team too. So I really, I believe in this, and I believe in it.
And so your dance, I don't know the term, but the person who's coordinated, the choreographer, or whoever is
dance teacher,
the dance teacher, I assume has also set up boundaries, expectations, so that everybody realizes that sometimes you're in the lead, you say, and sometimes you're part of the troupe, and you have to work together so that they don't just come in blind. They actually have a system where they can share all the responsibility.
Very much so. Yep, you are correct.
So I think that when I got my MBA later in life, so I went back to school. So we're talking about plunging into prosperity.
Yeah.
I think deciding to go back and getting an MBA was certainly one of those times, one of those plunges.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
from there, I moved into a position in Xerox, which was corporate audit and operational analysis with an
Mm.
emphasis on the analysis. So we went into all kinds of aspects of Xerox, from a stockbroker firm that we owned to
Wow.
a supplies business where they were making the toner for
Mhm.
the copiers, to sales groups and so forth. And you had to go in and listen, ask the right questions, but be able to immediately find out where the cracks were, where the gaps were in terms of possible revenue leakage
Yes.
or inventory leakage or whatever. And the funny thing was that I found that I had a knack for immediately honing in on the weakest link.
Yes.
And I mention that because we brought that into our business later on. So after 10 years in Xerox and becoming the head of communications for one of the divisions, and taking, when I joined, employee satisfaction scores. Have you ever been in a corporation where they ran employee satisfaction surveys?
I actually implemented them for companies because I owned a company that advised and consulted and was an agency from business development all the way to marketing, and so yes, I implemented them for them to see where they needed to go and cut some fat, so to say.
So you can understand, in a company as big as Xerox, when we were doing the quality movement and so forth, we would have annual employee surveys. And
Uh-huh.
then all the information would roll up, and then the results would roll down, and
Yes.
our managers would have certain areas they were supposed to fix that we had identified. So, funny story, our manager decided that we were going to create her fix it plan.
Yeah.
So in this particular case, one of her lesser abilities was giving us positive feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And we really craved it because we were high up in the organization writing letters for the senior division president and so forth. And so we found a way to help her actually praise us, because she couldn't do that normally. And we were good. We deserved it, right?
Right, of course, of course.
Do you
Yep,
want to
and
guess?
everyone anonymously submitted their requests for how to have a better environment internally, and then
Well,
yeah,
there was no anonymous about it. We had to write the
okay,
plan for her, and she had to say, well, "This is my plan." So my idea was, we since we did a lot of writing and we did a lot of developing, a lot of things on paper at that time. If she liked it, we got her a set of rubber stamps of different smiley faces, medium faces, and frowny faces. Now, this is as
emojis,
yes.
back in the
Oh,
day
that's
emojis.
right. The original emojis. And we bought her an ink pad. So while she couldn't say nice job, she could put her stamp on it, and she would do that and put it on our paper. And it was
Yeah,
just such a joy to get the smile, like,
yeah.
good
It
job.
seems
So
like
it was,
she may have not been complimented or given kudos as a child, and so it was hard for her to give them out. If you want to go deep,
she was a very good friend of mine too, eventually, but and she did have a
a
stunted
rough upping
childhood.
ring.
Her mother died when she was 10. But
Okay, there you go.
she was
Yes.
a brilliant person. She was very
Understood.
smart.
And they are the ones that need to go internally more end up sometimes being, the most intelligent. It's interesting, where there's pain, there's beauty. So sometimes in those areas where breakdowns lead to breakthroughs is one of my favorite sayings. I want to go back to your. Go ahead.
No,
Go. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I
You
was
want to
going to
say?
say it was to her credit,
Yes.
because she was a senior manager, that she would actually implement the solutions we came up with. So
Yes, understood. And I want to go back to where your position was there and your deliverables, and you were saying, where you found whether there was money leaking or holes, or you could identify it really quickly, the weaknesses. And whenever I'm in venture capital and private equity and I'm launching my own fund, and I've had, because I do due diligence on companies that we're going to look into invest into. So those are called deal flow. And then if you do invest, they become a portfolio company. And then also I do due diligence on the actual investors, the people that are coming in, because not all good money, or not all money is good money, right? And and I've noticed that throughout my career, it's been, over like about 20 years now, that and working with every industry except robotics and live animals, I'm able to look at companies' files from their spreadsheets to agreements and documents, and within minutes go and they're say they're asking for 5 million. I'll come back to them with in a very short amount of time ago, without even having to super analyze the spreadsheet. But I'm like, you're missing this, you're missing that, you're missing this line item. You need to raise 10 million, not 5 million. Right? Very quickly. And then they leave, they come back with their latest update, and I'm only like $500,000 off. So it's one of my fortes too. I wanted to be CIA when I was in high school, a marine biologist, astronomer, heart surgeon, brain surgeon, and dance choreographer. The CIA part, I get to live now because of me having to do, this intelligence work within these companies. And it's very fulfilling for me.
Yes, it's a very fulfilling skill to be able to do that. And it's very helpful to the receiving person. So
yes, it is.
whether you're determining how much they need to raise, or whether when we do our consulting, we go into companies, whether you're finding that, well, I don't want to repeat and say a weak link again, but I think that's it, or gaps where things fall.
Yeah.
It carries you become a valued partner because it's just a skill. And if you can carry that through your consulting, you can carry that through our training. So when we created Tech Talk, technology terms and tips for non-techies,
I was going to ask about that. Yes.
That's what we do. We look for, if we pick items that maybe you didn't know existed, or you didn't know all it could do. And we look for also the cracks, the gaps that people don't tell you, that will have you stumble because you don't know. Because ordinary training is just do this, do this, do this, do this, the end. And so we take the skill you're talking about and apply it to the whole field of learning. And same way with while in Xerox, I came down with chronic fatigue syndrome. Are you familiar with that?
I may have been borderline on it a few times, but go ahead. Is it something that's genetic, or is it brought on by working too hard?
Yeah, it's typically type A people, but
then yes,
like you and I. But
yes, I'm Yes, I haven't gotten to the point of chronic fatigue syndrome, but I know that I could if I did not put in the certain tools, modalities, healing modalities every week. There are times where I get I get on the wrong roller coaster sometimes, and I'll be like, wait a second, my body just said something to me. So my grandmother put me in meditation school when I was 15, so I have this ability to now be more in touch with my body than, So I understand. Yep.
Yeah, and it's an immune dysfunction disease, if you will.
Yes,
but it's triggered most of the time by an illness. Sometimes it's the flu, sometimes something or other. But mine was triggered by a flu. It took a year or two to find out about it. But meanwhile, your IQ drops.
Yep.
I was sleeping 14 hours a day and still keeping my 8-hour a day job at Xerox, and your memory lapse. So there was a big, like Time magazine cover where it compared depressed people with people with chronic fatigue syndrome. So here's one test. You give two groups of people, say 100 depressed people, 100 people with chronic fatigue syndrome, and you give each one of them at a different time a test. One test is to remember a series of 5 numbers. Depressed people can remember the numbers. The chronic fatigue people, because the memory is shot, can't remember a sequence of 5.
There's a lot of gray matter in the brain. That the brain is inflamed. Sleep repairs all of those tissues so that you can start over again, and downloads all of that information. Yeah.
That it did take 10 years of my life. I slept
Wow.
through much of it because I'm talking several years
Wow.
of an 8-hour day, half an hour going to work, half an hour coming back from work, and
Yeah.
then sleeping 14 hours. So I had 1 hour to do something. And the reason I bring it up is you're
Yes,
talking
ma'am.
about plunging into prosperity.
Yeah.
Because in a way, that plunged me into another avenue of prosperity,
Yeah.
which was helping people get younger every day
Yes, yes, we
by
talked about this.
building their health, building
Yep.
their mindset. And if you take that same thinking of finding the gap or the things
Yeah.
people don't normally tell you, the non-normal but really
Mhm.
excellent stuff, that's the thread that's I think has been the same through all of my plunges into different areas, always with the idea that even when I was sick, that I have a very prosperous life.
Yes, and thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that time so that others can learn. It's very important. And you've been doing Tai Chi, correct?
Yes.
Yes. I need to get invited to your class. Remember, I didn't get an invite yet.
Well,
I actually thought about it 2 days ago. I was like, what can I do right now? Because on the Apple Watch, you can choose which workout you're doing. And I don't know. I've never been trained or I've taken a Tai Chi class, but I know what it looks like. And because I was a ballet dancer and yoga, I kind of just mix the two a little bit. So sometimes I'll just press it and just do my own little moves. But I would love to take your class. So just put a little reminder for me. It's an
let me
online
tell you,
class,
no,
right?
we haven't forgotten.
Yes.
And
Okay.
we put up a link on our Get Young Everyday site so that other people can join us.
Okay, great.
It's not like any other Tai Chi class you've seen
Okay.
because number one, it's live. It's live every Tuesday and Thursday morning.
Love that.
And we're all on video as we are now. And it's a very small group at the moment. They started
Yes,
out, it ebbs and flows at different
of
times.
course.
But what we do is I lead the group, if you will, and we use various different experts that we have found on the internet
Mm.
and run their routines
Okay, got it.
so that we can stop and talk. We can converse and communicate, become a community before and after. But it's like sometimes we show up every time and sometimes people can't make it, so they just don't come. So it's just a cozy group of people who
Yeah,
want to go through because there are
beautiful.
thousands of different Tai Chi moves.
Understood. Yes,
But
yes,
it
yes.
it affects your whole internal system, and all of the um, I'm forgetting the word.
Central
that-
nervous, central nervous
Well,
system.
yes,
Um,
and all the things that are attached to it, the meridians,
no, the meridians. Yes.
right?
So
The
that
meridians.
was actually that's what I was gonna. Yesterday, I was the internet is just full of lovely things these days. I was watching something where someone took the traditional like Vedic in Hindu dances, like Buddha dances, or Tai Chi, and I didn't watch the Tai Chi one, but I knew that they were gonna go into it. And they put the moves into AI and somebody doing them, and it was making a certain like circle, the circle of life or like the flower of life, like all the different geometrical movements, or the movements were creating the geometrical shapes, which are frequencies as well. So
Hmm.
this totally makes sense, and now it makes me want to like get back into like more of this type of movement, ones that have a deeper meaning. And so knowing that the Tai Chi is connected is to the meridians, it's amazing. I get meridian work, body work, healing work on my body done a lot. So I'm very, very much in tune with it. I have my certification in energy healing and a few other things. I was almost became a naturopathic doctor before getting into venture capital, but I decided not to go that route. I've had a lot of almost plunging into prosperity moments, and then took a different plunge.
So, do you know anything about Qigong?
I know about qigong, but I've not dived deep into it. No. Mm-mm.
Okay, now we call it Tai Chi, but sometimes we do Tai Chi, sometimes we do Qigong, and
Okay.
it's not a deep dive. It is, but it's amazing how the smooth, slow movements that you do all the time through music, or most of the time through music,
Mm-hmm.
don't seem like it's a lot of exercise, but it can make you a little out of breath because it's really pulling on
Yeah.
activating parts of your system.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I
you're
agree.
welcome to join,
I am going to,
but
for
I don't
sure.
want to raise the level of expectation here. It's a friendly group.
Understood, understood. It was you I just enjoyed our first connection, and that's something special that happens when you meet someone and you remember them even days later, even though if we've never met in person, you still popped in my head, right?
How
Naturally.
nice.
Yes, yes. And so then I was like, because then also it was about movement, it was about healing. So that's such a beautiful place to be in as a human, is like when someone or something pops up in somebody else, when you pop up in someone else's head and it's for a healing purpose, right? I think that's a beautiful association. And so, yeah, so I was looking to add some more healing into my life and you popped up.
Well, I don't think of myself as a healer. I guess if we have different modalities, I've been often referred to as a teacher helper.
Understood. Yes.
But
Yep.
I guess we can help people heal
Yes, you
inside and
can.
out,
Yeah.
spirit
Even,
wise.
our hearts are the largest electromagnetic field, on the besides the earth. And we can heal just by standing there. We can heal somebody else. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yes. I also will work with remote healers. They're very well known around the world, where all they need is a photo of you, and then all of a sudden ailments start going away.
So
So,
let me ask you a question. We have so many different interests and so
hmm,
many different desires, and yet you ended up here in the financial world
yes,
in a very challenging sector of it.
yes.
And so, two questions. What made you finally land on that?
Hmm.
Or do you think that this is a period of time and then you're going to do something entirely different later?
Mm-hmm. Well, at the end of the day, I have always known for many, 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 many years, money is energy. Okay, and if I can create as much of energy and abundance as possible to give back to healing broken systems, that's like this fire that's in my belly. So it still matches my core thesis of my life, right? And I love learning, and I love being a part of different types of industries, and I can't just pick one if I were to do it as like a main career. Whereas in this world, I get to play with some of the brightest and innovative minds in the world. And then I get to also get down into the details of the spreadsheets and the due diligence, and I love I embrace challenges. Most people are like, "What are you doing?" Like, this is a lot, and I'm like, "No, this is so exciting to me." And yep, and not a lot of, and also women. It dropped from 2.3% down to 1.9% in the past 3 years. Of all money allocated raised and allocated in the world goes to women is 1.9%.
It's
Like,
dropped?
it dropped, and I'm very frustrated about it. So I was like, it's just giving me another fire, because I was already investing in women-led businesses. So you don't have to be woman-owned, because the data is showing that 78 cents on the dollar is returned by a woman if she's on the C-suite team for every dollar. And if it's all male, it's 31 cents. So we're actually also, yeah, this is 10 years of data too, by I think Boston research. And it's just like, but it's, it's understood. They're just used to doing business with each other. That's fine. But it's just taken too long. Like, we need to spread the wealth. So I'm here to plunge everybody into that.
So imagine what could happen if we had a president of the US as a woman.
I have 48 votes.
All right. Well, you're on your way. Is that one of on your bucket list?
It was not a goal. And then one of my advisors, like 2 or 3 years ago, I had launched Sacred Capital like a year into it, and his family, he didn't get into politics. He was the only one, but his family were very close with the Bushes, and so he knew politics very well. And so he goes, one day we're just chatting, talking about a deal on the phone, and he's like, "What? oh, by the way, when are you going to run for office? And I said, what? And he was like, president. And I was like, well, I have not thought about that. And I worked for Trump back in the day and on the Trump properties. I've dated the Stephen Witkoff's son. You know who Stephen Witkoff is, yeah? He's the right hand to Trump right now. He's the one that's bringing peace around the world in the wars or whatever, like trying to negotiate and stop them.
Gotcha.
I've dated his son. So I'm 1 foot in. So I just randomly will tell people about that, and they're like, "Oh, I'll vote for you." So I have 48 votes now. Yeah.
So I really like to make change, and you would
Yes.
think that being in politics might be able to do that, but I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. So that's why I'm sticking to what I'm doing. Yeah. You can make change with venture capital and private equity. So what happens with venture capital, which I also noticed, because in order to make change, you need to go to regulation status, right? You need to be able to make the legal changes too that go with it.
Okay.
So by investing in these companies, I can then work with them to gather the data, right? And take this data and then go make regulation changes where need be, right? By
Well, if you
showing
can control the regulation, right, or influence it,
lobbying it, and I also know how to raise money, so you need
yes,
lobbying
and money's power, right?
Yeah, it's energy, just get a bunch of energy together and then throw that big ball of power. I know that it's really the only current way that's doing it, so as long as we're doing it, for the better. So that's kind of where I'm at, and if I can just leave my imprint on the world in that way, and healing broken systems, things that are not healthy for the humans or the planet, like organic agriculture, for instance, or precision farming technology. Like there's areas there that need improvement. Like we don't need to have this high cost of food. Like if it's done correctly, we don't need to have everyone as sick as much. But that's all so there's a lot going on there. I moved to Puerto Rico because it's about 20 years behind mainland U.S. But it has such good infrastructure bones to create. But their farming here is from 3 generations ago, so they should be growing their own food here. But they are getting it. The ship passes them, goes to the U.S. because of the maritime trade laws that Puerto Rico is used as, and then it comes back here. So the food costs are higher here. And it's just like it doesn't need to be because this island it's the only rainforest we have here in the United States, and it's just so lush. But the farmers are farming old ways when they could be using drones or things like this to grow faster or better, or certain canopy style. And so I'm investing into the farming here. That's one of the things.
I was going to ask you, what are you doing to influence change there?
Yes, so I'm investing in the farmers and the land as well, and also their energy grid here is very damaged, and so there's a group that are creating energy storage grids that aren't even in the United States that are going to be better. So we're going to be doing that here. So I'm investing in another firm like mine that's actually doing the building of them. Yep.
Okay, so let's change directions here.
Yes,
Thinking
ma'am.
of plunging into prosperity. There's also prosperity in relationships. So I will give you mine, and then I will ask you for yours.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. I love this reverse.
So after spending 10 years in Xerox, yes, I took another plunge and left voluntarily. It wasn't laid off or anything. Took a woman who worked for me as one of my partners and started our own communication consulting firm. But at the same time, I got married to a Roman Catholic priest.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a big plunge as well, because he was the most popular priest in the entire diocese. And so people had opinions about whether or not that was okay, even though he had served 50 years. He was older than I, and had, contributed significantly, which is why they didn't, they weren't happy about his leaving. So, but that was a big plunge.
Yes.
I mean, he was it was a wonderful relationship. I went to a woman who ran a female group and did a lot of spiritual understanding and reading and explanation and so forth. So she invited me to this group, and it was at the holiday time. So afterwards, she had a little bit of dessert, and she gave us each a free reading. around the table. So there are about 7 of us. And I happened to be sitting on her right side. She started on her left. And she would go through each person and she would tell them, kind of what was expected. You got a little bit more work to do, or things are going to be happening
Yes.
here, or this and that. And she would give each one a round in order. And she got to me and she said, and I wished I had it recorded or could remember the exact words, but she went on to explain how my husband and I had this relationship that was beyond special. And whatever it was she said, I remember that when she got done, one of the other ladies says, I want what she got.
Yes.
And that
beautiful.
sort of describes the relationship. But everyone who met him, whether they were Catholic or Jewish or no faith or atheist or whatnot, all found it to be very special. But
is he with us still?
No, he passed away about 14 years ago. We wrote the book. He and I co-wrote a book. Excuse me. He wrote the book multiple times because he was so good at speaking and so good at thinking that when we say, okay, you need to edit this part, he would rewrite the whole thing.
Yeah.
So when he passed away, I had to struggle with how to put it together to get it into print. So I ended up interspersing my thoughts about what he was saying and what was going on. So you get a dual narrative.
Then you probably also channeled him a little bit too.
Sure.
And that was very cathartic for you. Yeah. Okay. And so with this relationship.
Well, so the book started out being called Fake Celibacy, but now I believe it's called The Man Behind the Roman Collar, a dual narrative of love, faith, and loss, or something like that. But the point was relationships allow you to plunge into prosperity, or they keep you from. So tell me about your relationships, your family, your brothers, sisters, or whatever.
Yes. So I found out that my father is not my real father 10 years ago. And my mother left my original father my biological, when I was 2, and my brother was an infant. She found him not to be a fit father. He was not ready. And so thank goodness that my mother was only, my mother was only 21 herself when she left. And then she moved us into a trailer. And then 6 months later, she met a man. And that man just left his woman, who cheated on him with his best friend. And he just had 2 babies with her. Remember, this is the 80s. And so then they met, and he basically became our father. He adopted us when I was 4, and my parents got married. And we went from nothing to then me watching my family go from nothing to my father having a couple $1 million business. So I watched the growth cycle of what it takes to become successful internally and externally. Did they do the internal work as much as they should have? No, but that's where my grandmother Linda stepped in.
Your grandmother's name is Linda?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't realize.
The one that put me in meditation school.
I didn't know her name, but which side of the grandmother was she?
So she actually also is not blood related. She married the man that adopted us. She married him for 1 year, his father for 1 year, and realized he wasn't a fit husband, but realized that my father didn't really have a good parental figure. So she said, come on in, and yeah, she kept the same last name as the man she married for a year. And so she illegally adopted my father when my father was in his 30s.
Wow. I mean, family, even without the legal adoption, which is really special.
Yes.
I mean, family is what you make of it.
Exactly. Yeah. So I've just watched all these dynamics, and because my grandmother put me in meditation school at a young age, she taught me to seek love and acceptance from within myself, not on stage with judges, but then also how to navigate familial turbulence or life turbulence, which again, breakdowns, and what I've learned throughout my healing journey is breakdowns lead to bigger breakthroughs. So I now have small little breakdowns instead of big ones. I don't need the big ones anymore, really. There'll probably be some, which is fine. But I embrace the breakdowns because I just know that there's wisdom within there, and let's go.
Yeah, the breakdowns are still a forward movement, and without them, you would not be in the place you need to be, not part of your life path journey.
No, not at all. I am not a chill, just hanging out person. I can do that. I am very much someone that can do that, and I do force myself and make sure that I do have chill moments and days. But I move, and so I know the breakdowns are going to come faster.
When is your birth sign? Your sun sign?
So I go based off of Vedic mostly these days. So I don't know if you're going that, but June 21st is my birthday. I am a Cancer and a Gemini because I'm on the cusp. And then I have, I always just now take both Eastern and Western astrology. So Leo and Cancer are going to be my moons, but Sagittarius is my rising on both sides of Eastern and Western.
The workaholic of the zodiac. Okay.
Yeah, so it's on. So the Sagittarius, that's my rising. That one sits on both. Yeah. And then my Taurus is Venus, and so I love in that manner. I believe what's my Mercury? I can't remember them all, but yes.
So what do you do when you chill? What do you enjoy doing that isn't? I mean, probably if you're like me, you love doing the work. Yeah.
I'm reading a book. Yeah, I'm always doing the internal work. Yeah, I'm reading a book, but Brene Brown. It's called Strong Ground. Do you know Brene Brown? Nope. You would love her actually, because she has the same mindset as you. I'll share with you some of her stuff. Brene Brown's Strong Ground. I'm reading right now. I normally read 1 to 3 books every few months. So I'm a mermaid. I feel I love the ocean. I have to be near the ocean. So I'll go to the beach and do snorkel or do things like of this nature. I love hiking. So when I was living in California and near where you are, I was managing director of BC. I enjoyed being able to go hiking, but I love the ocean. You can't really do the ocean so well there. So then, and I'm from Florida, so I was surrounded by amazing beaches. So I was like, everyone's always like, "Where's your favorite place to live?" And I said, "I don't have one, but if Miami had mountains, that'd be great." And then I moved to Puerto Rico, and it's Miami 20 years behind with mountains.
All right.
Yeah, so I can go hike in the mountains and then go jump in the ocean. So that's another thing I love to do. Yeah. If I had a farm, I would love playing, which I will eventually. I would love to be getting my hands dirty in there.
I love digging up potatoes. I like going into the ground and finding these. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, and so what about you?
Well, I'm a flutist for one thing. So
play the flutes, yes.
Mm-hmm. So I continue to perform and play with groups and solos and stuff. So that's very rewarding.
Yep, I was raised in a home with a music studio. My brother and my father are musicians. I play a little bit of drums. And so, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, my brother plays with like Tom Petty's family and Parliament Funkadelics and like a lot of old, like he hangs out with some legends in rock and roll and music. Yeah, because Gainesville is known for a lot of those bands that came out of there, and Jacksonville and back in the 70s and 80s and 90s.
What about horseback riding?
I just went horseback riding, like a long ride, like 2 hours for my first time.
Your first time?
That long. Yes.
Okay.
For that long.
Right.
Yeah. To here in Puerto Rico through the jungle and onto the ocean. And I saw my horse coming out of the stable, and this was we went for my mom for Mother's Day. My horse was the only one that was like, "I don't want to go." Just holding his head. And I said, "Oh, of course I get the one that I'm going to need to like really connect with and say thank you for, coming out even though you didn't want to." And so he was the first one to run too. He would just, he was the first one to eat out of all the other horses, like just stop along as we're going through, because it's very marshy getting to the beach. So there's these really nutrient dense. It was so awesome to watch him eat. Then we get out to the beach, and the guide is setting everyone's horses up, so that if we wanted to get photos or whatever. And I was the last one to be positioned, and me and my horse were underneath the palm trees, and the ocean is crashing. All of a sudden, mine just wanted to lay down.
With you on it?
Yeah, but he went down very slow, which was nice. And for some reason, my mom had her camera out, and she has the photo of me laughing, me and the horse in the sand, because he wanted to like scratch or cool down in the cold sand underneath the palm tree, and he's just wiggling around. But yeah, he just slowly went down and like was like, "All right, you can get off of me now."
So this was a male horse?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Stallion, or had he been a gelding?
I'm not sure. I think No, they're smaller. They're not massive. They wasn't the big stallion ones, no. I'm not sure. I'll send you a photo. You seem to know a lot about horses.
And you didn't, well, we had a farm, or we had a ranch for a while and had horses and so forth a little bit. But
Mm-hmm.
I just, when you're talking about hiking and getting back to nature, then horseback riding is.
Oh my God, I loved it. And you get so sore. It's a workout.
I was going to say 2 hours. That was my first thought. And then you said it was the first. Yes.
Yeah, my legs were sore for 2 days. 3 days, maybe. Yeah, it was wild. So I enjoyed it. Mm-hmm.
You've been to Colorado Springs, I think.
Yes, yes.
Have you been to the Garden of the Gods?
No, I haven't. I've never heard about this.
So the Garden of the Gods are massive red sandstone mountain range formations and stuff that, because sandstone is easily eroded by wind and rain and so forth. And so just a mile away from my house, you can go through the entire Garden of the Gods park, and they have horseback riding through it, which made me think of it.
Yeah.
But they're just massive rock structures that are along a whole mountain rim, if you will. So it's our signature tourist visit, if you will.
Yes.
But it's also very visited by all of us locals.
Of course.
To hike hundreds of hiking trails and horseback trails and ways to commune with the source and nature. So
beautiful. Well, I come out to Colorado every year, so I'll make sure.
Well, I hope you'll come down and visit, and I'll take you to a wonderful experience in Colorado Springs.
Beautiful. Yes, I'll add an extra day or two onto my normal schedule that I come out there for to do that.
What time of the year do you come?
February.
Well, that's an unusual. Well, I see you're coming because of the event in Denver. So.
And then we go out. Then we go skiing in Copper. So is that too early? I could always come another time.
No, it's fine. Whatever. It's nice all the time. I mean, that is typically a snow period. Although in Colorado Springs, we have so much sun. We have sun 300 days of the year that it's usually quite nice all year round, no matter what you're doing.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy. I've not been to Copper. I really like Vail. I really like the back bowls of the Vail.
Yeah. I lived in Aspen as well for summer. Yep, understood.
So guess where I learned to ski?
In Aspen.
No.
Where?
Outside of the U.S.
But still in the Americas? The French Alps.
Nope. I lived 3 years in Iran, Tehran, Iran.
Oh, wow. You know, I was going to go there eventually because I've been reading a lot about their their skiing, that it's just absolutely stunning.
It is.
Yeah.
That's where we learned. And they didn't have any bunny slopes. So, you learn quickly, and you got on those black diamonds and moguls very nicely. But the Shah at the time had built the whole ski area, and there were a certain number of chalets that were available for the American Ski Club, had 2 of them, and they ran a raffle at the beginning of the season. So you hopefully got your name pulled for one of the weeks of the cabin, and that were big enough to take a couple other families, so.
Yeah.
But it was exciting. But so the skiing was sublime. The sun came out kind of like Colorado, so that you would get a sunburn. But I mean, the powder was phenomenal. And the gondolas, instead of just a T-bar, was very handy and beautiful. So it was a nice place to learn to ski.
Yeah, and why were you living there? Well, your husband was
the husband at the time was
there?
The husband at the time was a colonel in the army. So the Shah paid for the Navy, the Army, and the Air Force and the Marines to come and bring their families and live there in order for those officers to train the Iranian army.
Exactly. Yep, understood. Yeah, my mother was born in Germany, but she was given up for adoption right away from an American army man, and a Spaniard woman adopted her. Yep. So
your family is quite
I'm
challenging from a family tree.
Yeah. I'm writing a film script slowly called July. because I found some information. We can talk about it another day.
Okay.
Yeah, but it has to do with birthdays and whatnot. But it was such a lovely pleasure having this natural conversation with you, Linda.
It's been delightful.
Why don't you tell our listeners where they can find you and what services or offerings do you have for those out there if they wanted to get in contact with you?
Well, I think the most fun site of our ventures is the getyoungereveryday.com site.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, help not just looking and feeling young, but thinking young and acting young and being young spiritually and sexually and finding holistic ways of healing and preventing naturally, So it's got we're developing it, and you can go there, getyoungereveryday.com. You can sign up to be in the know. We're launching there's some snippets there that you can see this fall, but there's going to be lots of getting younger tips, including, do you know how, well, you're younger, so you maybe you don't have any skin tags or anything that you would like to
no,
look
I'm
lovely?
Starting to get them. Yes.
Okay.
No, I'll be 41 on June 21st.
Baking soda.
Yes, there you go. Yep, I've read this one. Taking baths in baking soda.
Well, I'm going to say just that's an interesting one that might make a nice little tip too, but also just putting a pile of baking soda and using it as a scrub. Not that it comes off then, but it works into your skin and things just disappear and feel heavenly.
Exactly.
So at any rate, that's where people can sign up and then be invited to the Tai Chi if they want to come to the Tai
okay,
Chi.
Beautiful. Will do.
Because it's part of getting younger every day.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Linda. I appreciate you. And we will have another episode tomorrow, 10 a.m. Stay tuned. And thank you again, Linda. Have a beautiful and prosperous rest of the day, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for plunging into sacred wisdom and regenerative wealth with us. If your soul and your portfolio just got a glow up, hit subscribe on YouTube, Amazon, Spotify, and Apple. Share it with your crew. Tag us on social and join the movement at plungeintoprosperity.com. I'm Brandi Koloski. Catch you on the next plunge.